Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Very good evening to everyone. Welcome. I would like to welcome everyone to our CPD session number 4, organized by Akaripat Muslim Central College PAS Pupils Association, Qatar chapter. Once again, thank you very much for joining us today. And our special note of thanks to our respected resource person, Mr. Ajwad Asim, for having accepted our invitation and sharing his knowledge, expertise, and skills on the subject we're going to discuss today. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajwad. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank our working committee also for their dedicated time, effort to make this in making this event successful. Thank you very much, team. Before moving into session, I would like to introduce our respected resource person today, Mr. Ajwad Asim. Uh, a finance and fintech professional, a seasoned finance and fintech professional, currently working as a head of finance in PayLater. PayLater itself, a company related to fintech, holding a number of professional and academic qualifications like ACMA, MBA, CPA. Basically, as I mentioned earlier, he's a fintech leader. There are a lot of different fintech solutions, BNPL, wallet, payment gateway, and a lot of other solutions. He's basically a fintech leader. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajwad Azim, for joining us today and sharing your knowledge, expertise on the subject. Um, Let me briefly give you an introduction to the topic that we're going to discuss. The topic itself, reporting to advisory, which means you're starting to report to someone and moving towards a climbing in the ladder to the advisory level. So reporting to advisory, building future ready finance skills in the fintech era. So it's a trending topic, fintech in the modern world, AI world. The the current, era is called AI era. A couple of years back, we called it ICT era. Now it's into AI era. So fintech also parallelly traveling along with AI and ICT. Actually, our resource person would like to take this session as an interactive one. You can interrupt him at any time and ask questions, but one request from us, whenever you want to ask a question, please raise your virtual hand. I believe every one of you is aware of the option available to raise your virtual hand. Then, when you're permitted, you can unmute your mic and ask your question. In that way, we can make this session a smooth one. Once again, thank you very much, gentlemen. Uh, Without any further delay, I would like to hand over the session to Mr. Ajwad Asim. Over to you, Mr. Ajwad. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Farhan. Thank you, MCCPPA. It's an honor to be here. And thank you all took the time to participate. So let me share the screen first. You can see the screen, Farhan?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So let's begin. So thank you all once again. So the topic we choose is more about changing finance, forward-thinking finance. So there's a reason I choose this topic because when I joined, we all start a career as accounting. So I remember back in like when started like 2008 and all. So purely, I'm a person who came from biological science. So I started the accounting career after A-levels. So uh, I had no clue what is accounting, what is business and all, because it's from different area I came from. But then over the years, what we learn is more about accounting, IFRS and so many things, and we try to build a career on that. Some succeeded, some may not succeeded, some still, let's say, what you call accountant level or things. So now the world is moving. So as a finance graduate, a lot of people complain, or a lot of people is trying to find the right placement, and they're not even getting a proper job on it. So they have to understand the world is moving. Even the finance or accounting is moving. And so the next people who are preparing or who are in the middle of the career, they need to have certain skills to, to shine in this field. Not like old days, like accounting. And also that's one of the main reason I wanted to choose this topic. And I think this will help a lot of people who is starting their finance career, or who are in the middle of finance career, or who wants to change it, right? I will not be going through more in corporate level financing or accounting this time, because I believe whoever in that area, they already achieved something. So their way of doing is something different. So I will be targeting whoever wants to start a career, or who are in the middle career, like I said. And the second topic we will be touching about fintech. So whoever is not familiar with fintech, I will give a rough idea about what is fintech and why personally I choose fintech. Uh, I will be talk about a little bit about that. And then the third area we will be talking about how we can be like, it can be, let's say you are as an accountant or manager or whatever position, uh, so usually we used to report things. Now the reporting sense need to be changed uh, as advisory, um, in my view. That should attract whoever the management, or you whoever superior to you. So it's not just reporting like accounting or something, or balance sheet, or usual financial statement. So I want to tell that how the world is moving toward advisory, and why we as a financial or accounting professional, we should move towards that area. So these three areas we will be discussing. Now,
Yeah, Mandiram.
okay, now let's understand the history. Okay. So, like I said, there's a transition in the financial role, right? So, what we learn is double entries, balance sheet, month-end closing, uh, and the financial statement reporting monthly. So, there's nothing wrong on that. We must do that. But what is the issue in that? So, the issue is, it is always you are reporting something already happened, right? So that's something past information, and you are summarizing in a way where IFRS or your organization policies allow you to do. But now more in this fintech era, or more into data era, I mean, I will say a lot of information flowing in the companies. So they expect to make decision in future. So there's a lot of aspect we have to consider. So that's why a finance role or accounting role has to be, actually those roles will be changing in the future. Um, so like I said, there are challenges in the historical practice, right? Identifying limitation in the past reporting. Why we say past reporting, you close the month and you report for fast, right? And let me see, and the impact on that. Um, then we need to know, we need to know the expectation. So as a manager or a superior, what kind of information they will be looking at you, right? So I remember in my career when I started accounting, I wanted to show that, I have the skill, or I know a subject. So I wanted to go and, put it to management, everything in numbers, and, to explain it all. That's good. Of course, you have to do that. But then, uh, don't then going forward, we will realize that not everyone in the organization will be good in number. Even, I mean, they could be in a good position, but they may not understand everything in numbers. So that's where you have to develop your skills on how to report and what kind of report, how to summarize, what are the key points you have to say. So these are the critical factors impacting on the reporting side. Now, so you have seen a lot of industry. Now, myself, I started with, let's say, I started a little bit on audit, internal audit side. Then my first job, I moved to an automobile. And then in GCC, I started with construction. Then I moved to real estate. Then I came to fintech. So uh, choosing the career is very important. In my view, it's really important. It's not like so. Like I said, I had no background of accounting when I started. I don't know how the business moves, but when I studied SEMA, it gave me an exposure of how the business looks and all. Uh, so first of all, when you choose studies, so you have CIMA, you have ACCA, you have a degree. Uh, so to be honest, if you are choosing a career in Gulf, degree is a must. Uh, then of course they value CIMA or ACCA. And there is a financial qualification as well. So if you really want to go in finance uh, only, then I would say CFA will be a bigger thing to crack down. So it's very important in studies also where you choose. And then when you build a career, initially, I would suggest that yes, you have to have a Big Four experience. Why? Because they do more in organized way. So personally, I haven't started in Big Four, but somehow I catch up in my career. But I will advise whoever wants to build up a career, you take an experience from a Big Four, 1 or 2 years, or in the banking, if you're concerned, could be a Islamic banking. That will be a great start to start with. So every industry has different focus, right? So construction, it's a different kind of reporting, styling. I mean, cost management. It's mostly involved with quantity surveying. So the accounting role, I would say, it is diversified. I mean, a lot of people are involved. Real estate and all, it's more like business activity. Uh, so fintech is it's something with real finance. You can call it as, I call it as mini banking sector. So what it happens is you copy the concept in banking industry and you try to it gives out in the market with little relaxed regulatory. So the difference is when you go to a banking sector, the regulation is will be very tight because it's operate with huge share capital, right? And there is a lot of room for money laundering or illegal activities, or there could be a thousand things happening. So the regulatory perspective is very tight on banking side. When you come to fintech, it's like a control environment. So they set up some space and they say like, okay, you can do financial activity on this area. So that's the advantage of fintech. So the most good part is the name say fintech, finance and technology. So let's say you have weightage of technology 50%, then the finance has a weightage of 50%. It's very critical. For any business, finance is critical. I will not say, that, but fintech especially, it's finance the one almost driving along with the technology. So here, like I said, the reporting things will be different, very different. Basically, you need to have more technological knowledge. You have to understand how the technology works, how you can pull out the data from database or something like that. And you need to have a different skill set in the reporting sense. Now, I know big companies, they report in SAP or ERP, whatever ERP they call it. But here it's like more like you need to have different skill to report. So it's quite challenging. It's very interesting. So when you choose your career, I recommend, yes, it's fintech also very good, but there are less opportunities to be honest. But that's really a good career also. So it's very important to choose which path we have to go. And like everyone knows, success doesn't come straight away unless you know or somebody or something like that. So it always takes some time. So that's about that. Now, so in fintech, what we are going to do is I will talk about the role of automations, right? Uh, because it's very important how you automate the finance role. I will say, for example, let's say you the month end reporting or something like that, you know. So basically, you go to ERP and get reports and all. But here you need to see a lot of automation because you will have a lot of data. So that's the second point. You will have big data. When you say big data, there could be a situation where Excel cannot handle the data. It's not because of the raw limitation. It's maybe because of a lot of formulas and a lot of calculations. So each aspect has data point. So when you have a lot of data points, then you obviously may not able to work on Excel. So then you have other options like I would say the basic point will be Power BI or any other reporting tools, right? Which connect to your database, and then you one time you automate it, and then the report comes very often. Then you have real-time data utilization. That's mean it's happening now. So it's not like something you have you get the data in, let's say you miss 2 days of reporting or something, then you probably missing a chance of understanding what's really happening, right? So it's alarming also. It has to be monitored continuously, and that's where the real-time data things comes up. So basically what they do, there could be a several division monitoring the data. For example, finance is one. Then you have compliance department. They were checking the data, and then risk department will be there. They were checking data. Uh, so I would say as a finance, we have multiple vertical there, right? So usually we only target accounting, but it's not only accounting. So you have accounting there, then you have treasury or finance separate. Then even I will say compliance, it's something related to finance. So a finance graduate, if you are really interested in, checking kind of thing, or to take a control or something like internal audit or something, then compliance would be a good starting point also. Then you have the risk part. The risk is much, much more critical. So as a finance student, you can look for a career where you can start even risk. So the opportunities are less, but it's really I will say high paying job, one of the high paying job also, and one of the critical job in fintech industry. So that's also because basically the risk identification, risk treatment, those really help the fintech to move. Finally, I will say regulatory expectation. So like regulatory modes, not like other businesses. So fintech mostly they are monitored by central bank of that country, right? So you have to have a good rapport with central bank. You have to understand what is the regulation and how the regulation work, how you will maintain the regulations. So all these kind of things come with the regulation. On a note of fintech, so if you don't know the background, there are many fintechs exist. For example, now I am working for a buy now pay later, which is basically like Tabi or Tamara. If you've seen Tabi, Tabi is a huge success in Dubai. So they started like I remember I also got a first interview call at that time, but that time I was in Sri Lanka. So when they started, they had no, I mean, they just started like a very small, but it blast like a big. So basically, they work on a valuation thing. If you look at all these fintechs, now other industries, they go for profit or EBITDA, or, at the end, they wanted to understand whether this company makes profit or loss, right? But in fintech world, I would say, of course, they look at EBITDA and all, but it's not the key thing. So you will see a fintech or technology company making a huge loss, but still they are making a big, big valuation, right? They can go in billions. This is because of the potential of this data. So this is the power of having a human data and human understanding the human behavior, because that can grow very fast, right? So if you start a business here in Qatar, let's say you want to take it out to some other country, it may be difficult. But in technology part, you start something here, you have an option to go over the world. So if your tech is very powerful, of course, you can go and challenge anyone. Now, one of the example I will give, recently, Kita, when they started, right? See, they are from a Chinese technology point. So no time they came and they capture the market because the tech is strong. So that's one of the aspect on the technology side. So coming back to the valuation part, why I say fintech has more valuation. So it not necessarily need to be a valuation from a discounted cash flow valuation, where we work out like 5 years plan, then see, it could be based on revenue multiples. It could be made on different things. So that's one of the advantage on the fintech side. So what are the key skill required for this field, right? First one, I will say analytical skill. This is very critical, right? Whichever industry you are working in, it's not just reporting the old numbers and all, right? So the analytical skill is it's very core. You must have it. How you analyze the performance and how you differentiate the performance, right? So it's not like you are reporting usual P&L or balance sheet. You may choose some key KPIs. So basically, if the company is having multiple KPIs, you will choose some critical KPIs and you will analyze how the trend is moving, right? Then you will be advising to board or the management level or your senior, how things moving forward. So that I will say it's a must thing, right? Because there's a mistake we all do. Even when I started a career in accounting, we think that, okay, I should know IFRS, I should know accounting treatment, right? I will not say you should not, you should know. But to be honest, when I started on the career, like managerial position, I never, unless there's an audit or something, I never go and see much more an IFRS thing, right? So even most of the IFRS I have forgotten now. Uh, and I used to do a tax studies, for example, in CMA. Now they don't have, but initially in my time, I think they had taxation. So yeah, of course, when I was in Sri Lanka, we have practiced some taxation, but in the Gulf, especially in Qatar, I never use, or before even in Bahrain, there's no way I have come across tax except withholding tax or something. So there are few points you will study. I will not say you should not, you should study and you should remember, but when you go and find in a, when you want to shine in a company, then you need to develop your analytical skills. That's very important, right? Then the forecasting techniques. So learn about techniques. I will say a scenario analysis. So why scenario analysis is that You don't look at one point and say like, okay, my cost used to be like this, so 10% or 20% increase will be this. Um, so that is one scenario. Then you will have multiple scenario because you are a business leader in a finance. You have to think like you are the business person, right? So what if the question is, what if this happened? What if that happened? So those kind of things you should be able to forecast and analyze your technique skills. And one more thing, if I want to say, I will say something called stress testing. So what is stress testing is that you see very worst scenario, very vulnerable scenario, right? Vulnerable point or where it could hurt more the business. So when you present something, you have to present as a formal method. Like the mistakes we make is that what I understand. So basically, whoever choose this career, accounting and finance, they're normally good in mathematics, right? So we try to show the mathematics skill or calculation skill or something like that. But that, of course, the people who studied earlier, who did PhD or who is in this field for more time, they have developed some sort of framework. So it's good to learn those framework because whatever we are doing, we may end up at that point. If you can go beyond that point, it's very good. But even at this, we have to be at that point. That's mean it's an organized way of doing things, right? So we need to understand this framework. What is how scenario reporting works, how stress testing works, how the board deck work. So it's very good to have those knowledges. It's very good to develop this skill. Even if you just started your career, just go through these kind of reports, search on that because in 3 4 years you have to aim where you have to move on to a different set of reporting level, right? Advisory level. That's why I call it as advisory level. Then comes the digital finance. Now, earlier, okay, now I had my experience earlier. When you want to do anything, you either need a ERP or you need a technology person where he can write for SQL and all. But now, like Farhan told, this is an AI era. So there are a lot of AI came into place and they can do the SQL much better than a technology person, right? Now, as a finance person, what is the benefit for you is now, for example, let's say you understand what is in the database, where the tables, how the database is structured and all. Of course, you need to have that basic understanding. Once you have that understanding, then AI can help you to write the SQL. So you basically no need to write SQL, but AI can do a lot of on that. So that's where I think digital finance is moving. So the finance is more like we are having earlier. So if you see the evolution, initially, people accountant they used to write in books, right? Then these accounting packages came. They just put it and they got it. But now we are at a point we can, build our application. Or I heard Zoho is started. Zoho has also started the AI where you can build your own accounting package or something like that, tailor-made. So this going to be, I see it's a feature there. So whoever has a technological background and coming to finance will have more advantage on this field, right? So basically, I'm not saying that you have to be coding and all. Even nowadays, you will see a technology person is not coding, right? He is taking it from AI. So, but if you can understand those stuff, then it will be very easy to shine in this environment. Then other critical point is effective communication. This is must. I will say this is where we lack also. So I'm from, I know from we studied at Muslim Center College. I know there are a lot of people who really shine in this market, right? Uh, but again, it may be few. Why it's that? Because maybe our communication skill, right? Including mine, I'm saying, including mine. So we have to really work on that. That makes a big difference. So communication is something is so you have to understand how the world works now. uh, as you all know, like very what do you call, very smart people or like very IQ people will be very less, 5% or something. Then you will have a category of 10% who understand the complex technical method and all. Most of the people, 80% of the people are will be average people. So when you put something on very high technical level, then you should know only 10% of the audience will understand what you're talking about, right? Then the rest of 80% of the people, there's a chance they don't understand. So the communication is very important, presentation is very important. It should go to your owner, okay, owner or the board, or a sales person or marketing person. So these people also should understand the numbers. That's why the communication is also very important. So future of finance role is just understanding view. There will be a traditional finance, of course. You cannot stop that because not all business can grow. You will see SME, small enterprises, which makes revenue below the threshold, right? It will be always there because without SME, the country cannot move. So always there will be SME, and all of these SMEs, they need a financial person also, to basically accountants or something. That will not restrict your progress, of course. I will not say it is not a good point to start with. It is a good point to start with. So whoever it is, they start small. But in fintech world, they call as a startup. I will call the other business as a SME. So there's a potential, right? Then we have a reactive reporting, means like usual all days of reporting, you react for something immediately, right? That's why I said organized way of doing is much better. Yeah. Then you have limited productive power, and then you have real-time digital transaction, right? This is where the world is moving on, right? Then you must have your advisory mindset. So this will help to evolve in our financial role. Okay, so I will talk a little bit about fintech. I think we were talking for now half an hour. Yeah. So let's talk about another 15 minutes for fintech on finance, right? So I will give you a light of fintech. For example, let's start with payment gateway. That's the first thing I started. So payment gateway is something basically when you go on a e-commerce and do a transaction, and especially you pay. So there is a mediator to collect the payment, right? So there is somebody who called issuer, where you get the cards from. So usually the banks issue the cards. Now even fintechs are issuing cards, where you will have a limit to use. Okay, it can be a prepaid limit or credit card limit. Then there will be acquirer. Acquirer in the sense when the issuer is issuing, the acquirer will be receiving the money. In between, you have the rail of Visa or Mastercard or Amex. Uh, those are the famous one. So this process called payment gateway. So it is a complex process, but you'll see the market is dominated by Visa or Mastercard. Uh, so basically, what they do is they provide a technology. They don't finance. They only provide technology. So imagine a business model they have developed from US, where it can go into the world, right? Now, who is the competitor? I think the only competitor could be even Amex comes from there. Amex is having a different model of financing. Uh, but I will say a competitor from China, Unipay or someone, even though they have a bigger market, but they cannot enter all these markets, right? So that's how the technology was strong. That's how the marketing is done, and that's how all this payment structure is working. So that is one of the fintech. And then you have wallet. So I think from people from India, they know that very famous one is Paytm. So they have a lot of, basically it's like a mini bank. You can have your money. It's called e-money license. You will, so that will allow a wallet to keep people money, right? In that they will be doing a escrow auditing. That's mean because you are keeping people money. So there will be always a audit point to check, whether we are keeping keeping everyone's money and all. So that comes in that. Then I'm working on an industry called B and Buy Now Pay Later, which is also related to a credit. Uh, we are Sharia compliant, but they are in the other world. You will see even non-Sharia people doing it. So there are a lot of companies doing it, right? So those are the key players in fintech, and automation is the key here because it is not something like you can just take yesterday report and put it there and make report and send it to management. No, you cannot do that. At a point, even Excel will not work. That's a fact, right? So because you are working with a lot of data, that's where you have to have your automation and technology readily available. So imagine a bank, how they operate. So basically, if you go into banking sector, there will be a core banking system, something like ERP. This core banking system is supplied by could be 5 or 10 players in the world, right? Now, for example, if you go to Infosys, they may have like 100,000 of employees working on that. So the core banking system where they will make sure each product line is tallied and each is working like fine. So whoever goes into banking area, he should not, he doesn't need to have a big knowledge of reconciliation or whatever it is, because the technology itself, it will tally and it will reconcile. That's where they use the technology, right? So that's the benefit of automation. So as a finance professional, we have a huge area where we can work on this if you are very keen on learning technology. So if you are like you have a basic understanding of how technology works and all. Nowadays, I see even children when they start schooling, right, year 7, year 8, they start learning about Infosys. Back then, our old days, I think uh, it took us a lot of time even to see the computer and all. But now people are really moving towards that. So that's why, as I will advise as a accounting or finance person, it's not only IFRS or kind of thing. You have to go into more into technological stuff to to shine in the future. Then the digital payment evolution is there. Like I said, there's a payment gateway and there's a different kind of collecting payment. And the regulatory impact, that is one of the key area when it comes to fintech, because you will be monitored by central banks, right? So any country central bank will be directly seeing how we are operating. Of course, there will be a guideline. Of course, there will be a reporting standard. So basically, they will share you a reporting format. Even let's say your balance sheet P&L, okay, for management, your MIS reporting is different. But when you go to a regulatory, they will specify what is the format they want, right? So that we have to be in, we have to take care of. Then moving to analyzing the real-time data, okay. So this is one of the challenging job, I will say, because imagine a scenario where a wallet. So in a day, you may face 10,000 or 15,000 customers on board in the platform. So it is very hard. It is very hard to monitor one by one or something like. So this is where real-time data should be linked to the technology. So basically, how we do it in a wallet environment, we will create a lot of alerts. So not only finance, even compliance, risk, these people will be involved in that. So it will be setting some scenarios, some risk alert and all. So that is one of the area very important in the analyzing real data, right? Then the risk management. Like I said, if you are a finance person, you have very less interest on IFRS or real accounting things. Then there's a way, there's a very good, you are more good in analyzing risk and more, you are more interested in risk. You can choose this career also. So this is a very good career. I think banks are having these risk officers. So they will start at, I believe they will start as a officer level, and then you can go to head of risk also. So risk is everything. You have to manage. So the finance, even though it's a different field, it is very correlated with the financing people, right? Then the advisory communication skills, right? So what we have to do in advisory. So like I said, we should not be focusing only on reporting all kind of a old way of doing. We have to move towards advisory, but of course you have to balance it. Why I am saying balance it? Tomorrow you don't go and say that, I'm going to do this, this is my advice and all. Then your senior might got like, what he may get offended. That's where you have to build a skill also. Of course, the luck also plays a part, but you have to keep on working on it. It's kind of motivational speech, but I believe in that because I have come across those scenarios as well. So the thing is, you have to keep believing that somewhere something is going to make sense. So when you present something, you should know whom you are presenting. And usually now I'm in career for 15 years. Now I am at a point where I will get, see, in a board meeting, we may get only 2 minutes or 3 minutes, or even sometime 1 minute, right? So there are a lot of people will be there, lot of educated, lot of advanced people, business people will be there. So if you want to crack it, you have to crack it in 4 to 5 points, right? And though, so imagine you're presenting month data or year data, you have to crack it only at 5 points. So you will understand what is the key points you have to touch. What are the very key sensitive point you can touch. And that also you cannot be like showing up a lot of numbers, because nobody will understand, because you have to understand in a board meeting or wherever you go. In a meeting, they might have a 30 seconds or something to realize the data. So if you just started showing everything in numbers, to process the numbers, people need time, so it may not work. That's where you can use advanced AI, what do you call AI platforms. Now even they do the PPT in the AI platforms. Uh, I saw a lot of platforms. They are giving this visual chart. So let's say you're reporting a financial year summary, right? So now if I go and report it, revenue 100%, OPEX this percent, cost of sale this percent, and this, then a person understanding may take time. But I saw now in AI, it's like very simple charts they provide. They put like, okay, this 100%. So the visualization, it's going through their head very, very soon, right? So that's one of the technique, one of the skill you have to develop over the period. So I'm sure when you start the career, you will not be doing it once, uh, but going forward, you will learn that that's a skill, can differentiate you in the reporting level. Okay, so predictive analytics, this is about forecasting the future trends. It's very important because in fintech, it's all about, it's not about numbers only. It's about human behavior, how the people is going to behave, what is going to be the future trend, what is going to be market impact, right? So so these are the forecasts we need to do in the I mean, it's not simply saying that, okay, my cost of sale will come down by 5%, or my revenue will be increased by 10%. There's a lot of working. Even, okay, we have to say in one number, of course, But behind that, there will be a lot of working in a backup. So you'll be doing a number of working in the backup to arrive at one simple number, right? That will be coming from a lot of working behind. Like I remember when we studied the mathematics and all initial days. mm, So to get an answer, you have multiple ways of doing, right? There's no one correct way of doing similar thing like that. So you have to give a try on that. You have to analyze a lot, but of course you cannot produce all the analysis to the management. So what you do is you have a backup of analysis, then you arrive at a number and you be firm on it. Why I'm saying firm on it, when you say something, you have to be sure this is the thing, right? Then only people will go in detail. So that's one of the key things we should develop. Like I said, scenario modeling is very important also because mm, because there will be a lot of scenarios happening, in a company. It can be you have to analyze multiple scenario. It's a must. So what if all of a sudden my cost of sales goes up? What if my something goes wrong, right? So you have to have a multiple scenario. Then you can tell them like, okay, this is the range we are going to work on. And like I said, there will be something called stress testing also. You have to involve in that, right? So these are the value addition through the advisory. I will try to finish by another 15 minutes. Okay, so we said about advisory communications, then analytical thinking, forecasting, the data literacy, and risk management, right? So all these combined, I don't say this is from day one, but as a finance people, we should be working on these areas and we should keep believing that someday we are going to, this is going to give us impact. So just don't settle with what we have now or what you are doing now, but you start developing these skills. You start learning now with the AI era, ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever it is. It becomes more easy to understand the subject, right? So every day you have to progress. So I mean, for those who is starting this career, who's moving, my advice will be like, of course, there are two success in accounting stories. What I have seen, there could be a scenario where you enter organization and you fit to that business environment. Then the business owner gives you the full power, right? Then of course you have no interest to learn any other business. You will work on that business, but not everyone is lucky to get that path. There's another part. For example, you start initially with auditing, right? Big four, and you spend huge amount of year with less pay. uh, for me, for example, my personal experience is that I really wanted to choose a path like that, but like we study from, like, let's say Center College, then you move to Colombo, then obviously you have a financial problem, unless nowadays, of course, we all are well off, but those back days, of course, it's a very difficult task. Imagine you are getting like 5,000 rupees, or I don't know how much they are paying now. Probably they are paying 10,000 or something. Then you have to manage your lifestyle for 4 years in Colombo or something like that. Then it becomes really hard, difficult, right? But now I think the scenario has changed. So this is a very good option also. So you can start there and then probably moving, I will say banking also. It's a very good place to start. Of course, you are concerned about Sharia, then you have to move to Islamic. So basically, in my experience, I wanted to work for a bank, but then of course, my beliefs, we don't go into, what do you call, we wanted always Sharia. So those days there is no option like that. But nowadays, mashallah, I mean, there are good option, number of option on that. So that will be a good starting point. Uh, then you move to a corporate world and slowly you move on that. That is one of the career path it moves, right? Then I said fintech is a different skill set, like I said. So if you want to move in fintech, if you want to really shine in fintech, you have to have a technical knowledge. So I'm not saying you should understand the coding and all, but you should understand how the technology works, because you will be working mostly with technology people. So you will be working with the head of, technology, IT people. And then you need a lot of reports where you need to pull it out from SQL or whatever, those kind of scenarios. So I will say, if you are pursuing career on fintech or finance, then technologies plays very key role on that. Okay, so that's for me. If you have any question, I think we can have 15 minutes. If you have question, we will be answering your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajwat. I think we are expecting questions from our participants. Uh, Please ask your questions. To start with, let me ask a question, please. Do this mobile banking or internet banking fall under fintech?
No, banking is a different kind of thing. So uh, you can do, so basically this banking activity, you can do it in fintech. For example, there's a company called Revolut. It's valued as billion. So what they did is they started as a wallet initially. So basically, like I said, the difference is regulation and the compliance. In the banking industry, there will be a lot of compliance to open an account, to operate an account, to maintain an account. There will be a lot of compliance. In fintech, there will be less compliance. You don't need to go to bank, or you don't need to go to, for example, wallet company. You don't need to go to their office. You will do it digitally, right? So those will be started as a fintech. Then they go, for example, Revolut. They started as a wallet and this. Then now they applied for a banking license. So where they correlate is called digital banking. So there are in Dubai, you see now digital banks. That's mean pure digital bank. You don't see the bank. You do it virtually, right? So that's where you end up. So a fintech can grow to digital bank, of course, but the requirement is very big. For example, if you want to start a fintech, let's say in Qatar you need 5 million riyal. The same fintech, if they want to be a digital bank, they need 100 million share capital. So that's the difference.
Okay, in terms of technology, seems related, right? You
Okay,
use some
so
technology.
technology point of view, imagine it. You have only 10 million real capital. How you can build up a core banking platform? No way, right? Because
Mm.
it what it costs more is the core banking platform. So now uh, a fintech can, uh, of course, they should not make mistake. I will say 99% they will give a result, but bank should give 99.99%. So a fintech technology can go somewhere wrong little bit here and there, because it started with a startup mindset, and the technology people are not advanced. But bank will never go on that route. So banking systems are always like well tested, I mean, like Infosys and all, they involved in there. 100,000 of people works on that. So that's the major difference. So to for the bank, they have the capital and they can access this kind of technology. So obviously, the fintech technology and the banking technology, actually, fintech tries to be a banking technology, but of course, banking technology is well advanced. But the difference is, see, banking technology is that something, it's very rigid. If they do something now, for example, a bank wants to change its core banking, it will take for years and years. But a fintech technology be very agile, right? So from basically they will focus what they want to do. So they can, there's another reason also. For example, what is the customer base? Now in a fintech, customer base will be few 100,000, but in banking it will be like much more. So those are the critical point there.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I got the answer, and I think we have received some of the questions through chat. If you can have a look.
Okay, let me see the chat. Okay, 1 second. For traditional accountant to get opportunity into fintech industry from other industry like construction, do you recommend any specific short-term courses can follow? Yeah. So initially they don't have the courses earlier, but what I heard now they have started fintech courses. So of course you can go into that. You can work on that. So there are, to be honest, there is not, there are a lot of play. You have to be very careful in the market now because, see, fintech is a hot topic. There are people try to take advantage of it. They call it as like fintech analysis or something. Then, you end up studying all kind of school studies. So yes, of course, you have to be very sure about it. Uh, but now I heard, yes, they are offering, there are some good universities, they are offering fintech courses. But like I said, here, if you want to go in fintech field, in my experience, I will recommend you develop more into soft skills like working on other, what do you call the technology part. For example, you learn Power BI, you learn about database, you learn about SQL, even the data analytics, right? So data analytics is, I think, is a very huge area, but basic understanding of will help you to move move towards the fintech industry. So I can see only that questions.
Okay, fine. If there is any questions from the audience side, and until then, I will ask another question. Basically, I have tried even BNPL solutions. I think I have tried even Pay Later a couple of days back. How do you basically check the credit worthiness or the reliability of the person? Because the credit is given, I mean, soon after he, logged into the system, enrolled into the app, right? So how do you basically ensure that the person is trustworthy? And there are some other things like credit worthiness and all, right? So how do you
Yeah.
ensure those things?
So see, we have to understand one thing. The credit business, okay, it's the same model. Credit business is a model where it's practiced in a bank for a long time. Okay. So consumer financing, I mean, when you come to consumer financing, you have a lot of checks, right? So there are a lot of checks. So if you imagine yourself, you go and start a credit card. You want to apply for a credit card. So you go and apply in the bank for a credit card. There are multiple checks they will do. And of course, if you are eligible, they will tell you how much you are getting. Now, the only difference is how you can digitalize this, right? Now, in this era, um, actually, Qatar is still developing that. But if you see Dubai or Bahrain, they already have something called open banking, right? So what they do is the core engine of banking, they open to fintechs. Okay. So there will be a connection between the fintech and banking digitally. So let's say I put my QID number, okay, my ID number, I can pull all the data, my credit history, my behavior, and everything from through this open banking link, right? Then you instantly decide what is the limit for it.
Sorry for the interruption. You said that when you enter, there is already integration, right, with the other authorities and the systems. So up to which extent you are allowed, you are permitted to extract data of a person or customer.
So basically, it's in the term and condition. So you may not read it, but it is there. So it will say, okay, you will basically, when you click the term and condition, you will authorize the fintech company or banking partner. You are free to get my data, right? So that will allow them to collect the data. So when a fintech, that's why I said regulated business. So who monitors the bank is central bank. The same party is monitoring fintech, right? So they give all the freedom, not all the freedom, some, most of the freedom, what they give to banks. The only difference is you will get it through the digital. So to answer your question specifically, I will not go very deep, so it will be like more on technical thing. But just to answer like, so basically they do all the checks when you apply for a credit card, what you get, then they go through that process through a digital system, right? That's where a risk officer will be, setting up what are the parameters we will check. There are multiple parameters. So bank, let's say your bank checks 20 data point or 20, what do you call 20 criteria. Maybe a fintech will check 15 or 10 criteria, something like that.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Actually, we expect more questions from the audience participants. Friends, you can ask questions. You can ask about your career. You can ask about particular things like technologies they use in fintech or the business models. There are different questions that can be asked. Please ask your questions. One more questions like we see on a high level, very high risk associated with this business. For example, BNPL, uh, buy now and pay later, right? So obviously we see a lot of risk associated with this kind of model. So how do you, I mean, tackle or mitigate these risks? Like someone can, I mean, a good number of people can like use your the solution, and then they can leave the country if they're located in Qatar currently. So how do you mitigate these risks, or how do you treat these risks?
Yeah. So now this is not a new model, to be honest, right? So uh, imagine a bank, they are having a much bigger exposure because they provide you loans. Okay, that's a bigger scale. What we give in what we give as a limit could be like 5,000 or 10,000 real, but the banks gives like in 100,000 and all. Then think about the credit card. Credit card, they are giving like what, three, four times of the salary, right? Sometime one time of the salary. So it is already there. Okay. So that structure is already built with the bank and they are doing it. Now, when it comes to fintech, of course, there's a challenge because you cannot be a bank, right? You will not have all the data points, but I will say 80-90% of the data point will be there. So the model will be something similar, but more agile. We will be taking more risk uh, than the banking environment, I will say, right? So always there will be a risk factor. So let's say some percentage of risk is factored, and then it is incorporated in the model. Now, our job as a finance guys or risk guys will be like we have to keep down that line risk. So let's say my risk factor is X. I need to make sure it doesn't exceed, right? Like you said, there could be a scenario where uh, imagine now banks gives credit card. Okay, so let's say they give a credit card of 100 million real. Okay, now at the utilization point, a bank see every month utilization is 20 million. Right? But if you ask me, can it go up to 100 million? Yes, because they have given 100 million, so it can go to 100 million, right? But at a point, uh, they know from the past data or they know the economic condition and all, it never goes up 40 million. So if it's triggering above 40 million, that's the triggering point. Then you will go and do the other mechanism inside. So that's how they manage the risk. So we know what is the maximum appetite we have to give. Okay. What is the currently how much it's going on. Then there is a alert point. There's a point where it goes beyond that, it will get alerted. So that's how they mitigate the risk. Okay.
Okay,
Assalamu
thank
alaikum.
you.
Good evening.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, please.
Just I have one question. For normally for banking sector, major supplier is their customer, their deposit and everything. For the fintech companies, whose are the bargaining power of suppliers?
It depends on the fintech. Okay. So if it's like a payment gateway, there is no customer involved. So the payment gateway, basically you bargain with there's something called interchange rate. So who are the party involved? There is something called issuing bank, there will be an acquiring bank, and in the middle there will be a payment gateway and Mastercard and Visa. So there are, let's say, to simplify, there are four people. There is a interchange, let's say 2.5% or something interchange is there. Now who get what share is the call. Now issuing bank, those are the party takes more risk, they give the credit, right? So they take about 1.5%, majority of that portion, right? Then there comes a acquiring bank. Then Visa and MasterCard, they are a small facilitator. So they take about a small charge. So to answer your question, a fintech does, but BNPL is different. BNPL is taking money from the merchant. For example, now we have Lulu, Carrefour, Jerry. You see all the big names we have. So if you walk into the store, you will see us. So my marketing is free. They will do my marketing, and they will pay because, of course, you are bringing more footfall, right? So that BNP model is that it depends on how much business you can take it to them. If you can bring, for example, look at Sununu. What Sununu is doing? Sununu is not a fintech; it's a technology company, right? It's called quick commerce. What they are doing is that they are facilitating uh, a a buyer and the seller. They are in the middle. They are a marketplace plus they are a delivery partner, right? So now imagine you open a restaurant and you don't have any business. Then, of course, you go to Sununu, you see a Sununu or Talabat. I don't want to be specific, so I'm very open to everyone. So then they bring the business, right? Then, of course, as a business owner, you will be paying more to them. So that's where the bargaining power comes. The more you bring the business, the more you get a chance to bargain. In fintech, you bring the people through digitally. So imagine you want to, like old way of you send WhatsApp or you want something, you want to get customer. It's not like that. This is like a fire. So it started small, then imagine tomorrow I go, you walk into Jarir or you walk into Lulu, you will see pay later. Okay, then you'll be asking what is pay later, and then so it grows like a fire. Everybody wants to go there. Then obviously Lulu or Jarir knows the impact of pay later, right? So they know they want it. Then the bargaining power is created there. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, and we expect more questions. If anyone is ready to ask a question, please let us know, or you can ask the question directly. Actually, I had forgotten one thing to share at the beginning. Mr. Ajwat Asim is a proud past student of Akrepat Muslim Central College. You know, this program is organized by Akrepat Muslim Central College Past Pupils Association, Qatar chapter. And once again, we would like to thank Mr. Ajwat Asim for joining us today and sharing his valuable knowledge, expertise, and the skills on the subject matter we are discussing today. Thank you very much. Uh, One of the important things that I wanted to share with you, everyone, we have already shared a link to register for the certificates. If you want to receive your certificate for the participation of this session, please visit the link and register for the certificates. We'll be issuing the certificate very soon. Basically, you were talking about the Sharia compliant BNPL business model, right? Basically, you are working for such business model. Um, what is the other model? I mean, like, which are non-Sharia compliant, which is, I'm not sure whether it is interest based or some other way of making profit. Can you please
Yeah,
explain?
yes. So they have a, so if you look at US, there's a company called Affirm, and there are Klarna from, I think, from Canada or something. So they have multiple revenue stream. So what we are talking in Sharia is only one revenue stream. We go to merchant and you sell and you take a percentage on that. So basically they want you more business, so they will give. But but this is a high capital oriented business, because a customer pays you 25% in advance, then he wants to pay other installments, right, in 3 months time. Of course there is a delay, right? There could be delay and all. So you need a lot of capital, a lot of money to run the business. So there's a lot of finance. That's where the finance part comes from. You you can imagine all the financial thing. And so finance falls into two area, right? So for example, look at the Islamic bank. Um, for a corporate, you can take a loan. You can take a loan with a commercial bank or non-Sharia bank, right? And you can take a bank loan with Sharia bank. So the loan part is same, but the way of taking is different, right? So that's where this Sharia plays fall in. So actually, for Sharia, there is restriction. You will be sharing with Sharia board. You will getting their approval before going in. But if you see the conventional model, yes, you have multiple revenue stream. It's not only from merchant. They can take money from the customer. They can take money from the deposits. So they can take money from the late payment. So there are a lot of things they can do.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. I have noticed many of these BNPL solutions giving only four installments. Is there any particular reason for that? And as you said earlier, that the 25% of the amount has to be paid, when you purchase the item. Okay, so is it something specific or intentional, or is that how it works?
No, it's from central bank. So initially now Qatar just launched the BNPL license. So we are the first company to get BNPL license, right? So the first license you say for 4 months. Now it's all about risk. Whom you are giving the loan? Like you said, a customer can take and he can leave the country, right? So now if imagine a scenario where you are giving only two installment, then your risk is very low compared to four installment, right? Now you want to go and give six installment or 1 year plan. Then first of all, you need to give more limits, right? So whoever wants to go for 1 year, for example, let's say you want to buy a car and then you want to buy in installment. Okay. So then we are stepping into a loan segment. So there will be a criteria set from central bank to differentiate. They don't want to, now tomorrow banks will not banks will start complaining, oh, these guys are coming into my area, right? So there's a clear differentiation they used to maintain, and it's all based on the risk. So what kind of risk they can take, and like I said, a fintech cannot decide alone. Now tomorrow, pay later decide to go for 6 8 months. No, they cannot do it. They have to get permission from central bank. So there is a regulator who is monitoring all these ecosystem.
All right, it's very much clear. I think two things you have mentioned. One is that the risk associated with the long-term, provision, and the other one is that you're overlapping with the banking sector, right? So, apart from that, I just wanted to ask you, can you briefly explain further about digital wallets? Actually, how does it work? I mean, because it's not that much popular among our people. Nowadays, the BNPL is becoming popular, I believe. Can you briefly explain about that as well?
Okay. So the difference is debit versus credit. That's why you see the biggest difference. So credit, everybody wants credit, right? Debit, of course, it's your money, so you will know where to spend. So that's a demand different in wallet and credit business or BNPL. Now, where wallet succeeded, they tried to replicate a banking sector, right? So there are successful wallets, Paytm, Revolut in Europe. They are huge success. So for them, wallet to expand to that level, they need a basic change in the core banking. Okay, because wallet take money from basically. Uh, let's say this: where the source of money comes. Now you get the salary. When we get the salary, it goes to bank, right? So physically, you don't go and deposit the money in the ATM machine. Your employer transfer the salary to a banking account, right? Now this banking account is the account wallet wants to have. So wallets want to hold your money at this system. Now let's take, I worked for C Wallet. Let's take Orido Money, right? So Orido Money, what they did initially, they had a virtual account. So same like our bank account, they have a virtual account initially. So now again, you cannot overlap with bank, right? Because bank with huge capital and there is a very good, I mean, compliance environment, regulatory. They can spend much more for compliance officer, risk officer. It's with and the technology. So what they said, if a guy is getting a salary below, let's say 5,000, then he will have a WPS card, workers card, right? This WPS card will be linked to a virtual account. So there, all the salary will be transferred to the virtual account. Now, banks will not hold their account now because of the wallet didn't evolve that much. Banks are holding those accounts, but I believe initial days, if a person's salary is less than 5,000, you go to bank, they don't open the account. They say go and open a pay card account or WPS account. So what is the WPS account is the wallet. So imagine now 200,000, 300,000 workers with 5,000 and they come into this. So now the wallet has a base. They have money now. So now they can act like a bank. So once now, so what is the limitation? If a guy is getting below 5,000, right? Uh, how much he's going to spend here? Probably very less amount of money, and his more focused is on remittance. He will be remitting to the his country. He will be basically sending money to Sri Lanka. So here the wallet is more for remittance. That's why you see Orido Money doing remittance or C Wallet or iPay. They are focusing on remittance. But if you go to other markets, the wallet is something, it's allowed for everybody. I mean, your salary basically will come to your wallet, right? Now, what you will do? Okay, imagine you are getting a good pay on something. Your family is here. So you don't send money home. You are going to spend here. Then, of course, the wallet will issue their own cards. So now you will not use the bank card. You will use the wallet card, right? So all the millions dollar of million real of expenses will happen in wallet. Then the wallet becomes more successful. So to answer your question, that's a basic difference.
Okay,
But
all
but
right.
in our business, like credit business, you don't need to you transfer money later. Initially, we give you credit,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so the money is generated there itself.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And friends, if you have any question, it can be either related to the fintech career or fintech, solutions or fintech technology itself. If you have any question, please feel free to ask those questions. We have still time. Once again, I would like to remind you, we have already shared the link to apply for certificate for the participation of this session. Once you register successfully, we will be able to issue the certificates to you. Uh,
Okay,
One
I
final
think,
question I would like. If
okay.
there is no question, let me ask the final question. Maybe it
Yeah.
is something deeper into your decision making or how you operate. Basically, on what basis? I know that you have been your system has been connected to multiple, authorities, the systems and things. Um, how do you determine the credit value uh, for a person when he logs in or get enrolled into your app?
Yeah. See, you're asking key competitive advantage questions. So, 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 so obviously, they will not reveal it. Okay. But I will give you a rough idea how it works. Uh, we call it as data point. Okay.
Mm,
So each one, each small things are your data point. Then how the risk works, there is a metrics for risk. So like we studied, we always go for a weighted average score. Okay. So there are some score will be like heavy. For example, let's say your company. Okay. For example, you have to treat obviously I mean, you're working for a government entity or private entity. In private entity, there will be subclass, uh, your age, a lot of factors are there. So,
mm,
we have to, and it's not a statistic. I mean, what do you call it? It's not a one line of thing, right? So imagine a pay letter started 6 months ago. So we will not be doing what we did 6 months ago. Now we'll be doing something, and in next 6 months, it could be something totally different, right? So that's a game change. That's a core competence in this business. How you evolve your risk filtering. The more you filter the risk, the better you are. So of course, banks doing this business for a very long time, right? Credit card, I think, stayed for a very long time. They know the rules and all. So obviously, we as a fintech, there are a lot of fintechs also. If you search Google, or I mean, you just check ChatGPT, you will get a lot of risk parameters, right? Those parameters also, it's evolving, and they call as AI risk engine. So that's the final point. Your risk
mm.
engine will be connected to AI technology, and it will not only look at your past behavior, it will estimate your future trend, right? And then it will adjust your limit. So imagine I gave you a limit. It's not a hard rule. Let's say you get 10,000 real. It's not mandatory I have to maintain you at myself. Okay, it's not mandatory to maintain my limit at 10,000. My engine should be revolving. I mean, it will be analyzing, and it can change the limit at any time. So that's a key point in that business.
Yes, thank you very much. This has been a wonderful session, very insightful. And once again, I would like to thank you for joining us today. Thank you very much for having accepted our invitation, sharing your valuable insights, knowledge, skills. I strongly believe that everyone would have benefited out of your session today. Very informational. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajwat Asim, for joining us today. Uh, Again, I would like to thank our working committee of Akrepata Muslim Center College, Past Pupils Association, Qatar chapter for their dedication in terms of time and efforts. Thank you very much, team. With that, I think you would like to make a final note, Mr. Ajwat.
Yes, thank you all for joining. I hope it's beneficial for all of us, and it's always pleasure to meet our friends, and it's more like family. So the Qatar chapter Muslim Center College, I wish that we gather very soon. And thank you very much. Thank you, Farhan. You made it very interesting, the session. We
No
must
problem.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Of course, we will continue our CPD session, continuing professional development in the future as well. We will keep you informed, keep you posted, wait for our announcements. With that, I would like to conclude this session. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajwad.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you again,
See you.
inshallah.
So.
Assalamu alaikum.